What's going on, people? This is Shok, and this is going to be a quick video since my last two were like 20 minutes plus. But I wanted to do this right before I get back to work because I'm currently on my lunch break. But obviously, I want to talk about Nintendo's next generation system. Before I get into that, though, make sure you guys follow me on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Shokio. If you guys you feel like you're not getting enough of your fix here on YouTube, make sure you guys follow me on Twitch because I stream on Twitch way more frequently. Ever since I quit YouTube like that, I've basically been a Twitch streamer. So if you guys want more Shokyo content, I promise you won't regret following me on Twitch. My streams are very funny. They're hilarious. We get into a bunch of bull crap. My streams can be wild sometimes. So make sure you guys follow me, twitch.tv/Shokyo. That's usually where I am. But with that being said, I do actually want to do more content here on YouTube. I know I've said before, time and time again, like, oh, I'm coming back to YouTube, guys, and then I just kind of quit after a couple of videos. This is the first time I genuinely feel like doing content. I actually feel motivated to do content again, and that's the first time I've really said that or felt this way. So, as of right now, guys, I definitely plan on uploading more here. But with that being said, let's get into it, because I don't have too much time, but this isn't going to be super rushed or anything. But Nintendo did their quarterly meeting where they kind of go over the performance of the sales of their consoles and games over, the last quarter. And they had a slide showing, the timeline of their systems, Wii and DS. And they skipped the 3DS and Wii U, probably because of the Wii U. And then went to like Switch 2017. Then they had like dot, 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 2017. 20XX. And they had like new generation hardware. So a lot of people are saying that, oh, Nintendo's actually starting to talk about the new hardware, although they showed that exact same slide last year in another presentation. And then on top of that, for anyone who's been paying attention, guys, these companies start planning and crafting their next generation systems like almost immediately after they release their current system. You know what I mean? Like they kind of get to that because these game systems are something that take years of R&D to get down to really plan out so they have things perfectly exactly how they want them and they're able to get them manufactured on time and released. You see what I mean? But the question is Nintendo going to stick with this hybrid handheld form factor? Or are they going to go straight handheld? Or are they going to go uh, to a traditional box again? You know what I mean? Now, I think straight handheld is completely out of the window because, of course, I feel like there'd just be way too much backlash if we weren't able to play any Nintendo games on the big screen, right? So that's out of the question. I actually saw some people talking about that, and I'm like, you're crazy, right? But I don't believe they're going to go back to a traditional console either because this type of format has really worked out for them. Because as we all know, Nintendo handhelds have always been crazy successful. They sell a ton, but not only that, but they were also able to combine their handheld and home console teams. So now they don't have to split their resources and their games between two separate systems. Now they get all those games that their handheld studios would work on the Switch, right? So like Fire Emblem Three Houses, that could have very well have been like a 3DS2 game, but because they got rid of the handheld division, now we got that on the Switch, and we see the effect that that has because compared to the Wii U, the Switch hasn't really had droughts like that, not even close to the Wii U. Outside of like last year, because we only have was like what, like Animal Crossing and like maybe one or two like smaller type things. Uh, we've had a pretty good release from Nintendo of games, and the combining of their handheld and home console divisions are definitely the reason behind that. But not also that. I feel like they will stick with this because there's kind of a way to get best of both worlds. So not only am I saying that I think they'll do the hybrid again, but also I have an idea of how I think they will actually implement this. Because we all know that when Nintendo has a successful idea, they are going to double down on it. They are going to try again. You know what I mean? And we saw that with the Wii. They tried Wii U, right? Uh, DS, 3DS. They like to continue successful brand names. So because the Switch is highly successful and it's actually on track to outselling the Wii, which is insane to think about, I definitely think we're going to have a Switch 2. But Nintendo is not the type of company to do the exact same thing over again with their next system. They'll keep it in the family, they'll build on that concept, but they're not going to do the exact same thing, right? So, what do I think they are going to do with this next system, this Switch 2, we'll call it for now? Well, if you guys remember back to when the Switch was called the NX before the Switch was officially announced and it was, rumors of the next Nintendo console, there was this patent that showed up multiple times of this box that says game console and this other one that says supplemental computing device. And this contains a processor, memory, and network interfaces. So basically, a CPU, GPU, or just an APU really is most likely what that would be. Some RAM and like a network card, right? So basically, what that patent was showing was you have a main console and then you have a external device that you could plug into the console that actually gives it more computing power. I think the reason why that was patented back in that day is because that's an idea Nintendo was flirting with for the Switch, but for whatever reason, maybe they didn't have the time to implement it, or it was harder than they originally thought. But like I said before, Nintendo likes to revisit old ideas. The Switch itself was an old idea. The Wii U itself was an old idea. Matter of fact, if you guys remember back in the GameCube days when they had the GBA adapter, that's essentially the original concept Nintendo had for the Wii U. That's an idea they were already flirting with. You see what I mean? The Wii remote and motion control, Nintendo had patents for that type of stuff way before the Wii came out. You see what I mean? So Nintendo, oftentimes, if you're paying attention, they will bring these older concepts and ideas that they had to fruition like years later. And I feel like they're going to try this with the Switch too because I think it makes perfect sense because the Switch itself being underpowered, it's like, man, it'd be nice if it was a little bit more powerful, but at the same time understand it could be hard to cram the full power of an actual home console into a small handheld form factor because you have to worry about things like heat and clock speeds and stuff like that, or just overall space, right? You can only fit so much on a way smaller board like that. But if they have a supplemental computing device that can contain some extra hardware within it, then they don't have to worry about that anymore because they can have all the space that they could possibly need within, realism, uh, you know, in the dock. So I think that they're going to have a dock for the Switch 2 that is going to have more than just ports on it. I think that it's going to have actual processors in it to help the speeds and the performance of the system. So basically, imagine if you could, you're playing your Switch in handheld mode, 720p, 17 frames per second, like Xenoblade 2 be running in, right? Actually, Xenoblade 2 be in like 240p. But but then you plug into the dock, and then it's like boom, it's running in like 4K. It can run up to 60 frames now because there's more power in that dock. And if you guys like pick up your dock and look at it, just pick it up. It's light. There's hardly anything in it. If you just imagine like maybe a little bit more width, couple of changes, there's a lot of space to put an actual sock design, a sock system on or in the dock. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility at all. Like I said, it seems like that's something Nintendo thought of. While this supplemental computing device is something we didn't end up getting, I feel like that's definitely something Nintendo was flirting with in regards to the Switch. And I feel like it kind of manifested a little bit because while the Switch itself, the dock doesn't offer any extra power, we still got like a two-piece device. You see what I mean? And I think it makes way too much sense for Nintendo to pass up on that idea. Like I said, it's kind of knocking out two birds with one stone. They get the handheld form factor they want. They don't have to worry about the headaches of trying to account for heat and operating in this very small space, in this very small shell that the Switch is in, right? But then they get the processing power that they want at the same time. So I think it's a win-win situation. But you guys, let me know what you think. Let me know if that's too optimistic or if that makes too much sense for Nintendo to do, because oftentimes they don't do the thing that makes sense. But those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think Nintendo's going to do with their next console. Let me know what you would like to see in the next console. I'm going to have some more videos out this week and next week. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitch. Thanks for watching. Peace.